Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Vernicus.
Say what?
Charette.
Dr. Gordon, how are you, sir?
Good, man. I'm living that summer life.
Word.
Oh, yeah.
I'm living easy, you know?
Vitamin D life.
Yeah. Oh, you get it every morning.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You're a morning sun on the face guy.
Yeah, a little 10 minutes in the sun, but today I got 5 minutes. The concrete was
short.
Scorching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't want to get too much. Didn't want to overload.
Yeah, it was too hot.
I understand. Did you do anything this weekend?
What happened this weekend? Went to the Neon Museum.
Neon Museum, like
The
neon signs.
Museum. Yeah, so in Vegas they have a museum. It's an outdoor museum, but it's like all the old Las Vegas signs.
I like it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Now those old ones, they get quite a hum going to them, right?
Oh yeah, there is a slight hum. Yeah, there is a slight hum.
Yeah.
I didn't even. Yeah, thinking back on it. Yeah, there is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I've been known to dabble in some of those reality shows where they restore the old neons. You know.
Yeah. 100K, man.
Yeah.
100K.
That's a fact.
I'd really love, to get a very, advanced Doc G neon sign. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Mike,
Probably get some.
Mike, I did not go to a museum this weekend. I did catch up with a semi-new movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm a little late to the game. It's a rom-com.
That's right.
Rom-com.
Anyone but you. You know Anyone But You?
No idea.
Oh, come on, Mike. Come on, with old Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. Oh, it's magical.
So true.
It's magical.
Okay.
Now, I know some of our listeners might
Sydney Sweeney's magical.
well, that's what I'm saying. That's what and Glenn Powell's not too bad either.
Jeez.
I wouldn't kick him out of bed. Anyways, I know some of our listeners might not have seen the movie, so I'm giving you the chance right now. I'm not going to really give away any points, listeners. There's just going to be a couple of things. But if you're concerned and you're like, hey, I've only had a year and a half to watch this movie, give me a little bit more time. Fast forward right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just fast forward. But before I get specifically to Anyone But You, Mike, I don't know if you know this about me. I am a rom-com fan.
So true.
Okay.
I'll get
good.
down on a rom-com.
Yeah, I love them too.
You know why I get down on rom-coms?
Why? Because it's all fake and just false and not real.
Yes. Because everything is amazing, Mike. That's why.
Yeah.
Everything is amazing. Everybody is funny. Everybody is fun. Everybody is attractive. They all say witty things. Nobody is boring. It's just great. You know?
Yes.
I celebrate the whole catalog. You know? How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. 13 Going on 30. Pretty Woman. I go to the old ones. Pretty Woman. Clueless.
Yeah.
All kinds.
Clueless?
Clueless.
I guess that was kind of a rom-com.
It falls in love with Paul Rudd. Who wouldn't fall in love with Paul Rudd?
Of course.
You know?
Sweet.
I even go with the Something's Gotta Give. You know? That's a good one. That'll get you. You know? Now, I gotta say though, you know, the best thing about rom-coms is nothing in the life of a rom-com sucks.
No.
In actual life, almost everything sucks.
Yeah.
But in a rom-com, they can do something that would blow nards in real life, But in the rom-com, it's fantastic. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And everybody, like, there's no physical deformities. There's no diseases. They have plenty of money for no reason.
Diseases.
None of their life makes sense, and yet it's awesome. You know?
Yeah.
In the case of Anyone But You, very on and early in the movie, Mike, Sydney Sweeney's character tells Glenn Powell's character that she quit law school, or she wants to quit law school, and she's on a break with her boyfriend, and she ends it with, "My life is literally a disaster." That's it? Those two things, and your life is a disaster? Your life sounds awesome. Literally, 99 out of 100 people I stop on the street would have a worse life than that. Those two things. 99 out of 100. Like, just...
Yeah.
And I know right now there are some listeners out there that are like, Ben, you can never judge another person's problems. But I got to say, I think you can.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's fairly... Like, I'll give you an example, listeners. If you think that, here's two scenarios. Two life scenarios. Here's the first life scenario. You're working at 7-Eleven the overnight shift. You just got diagnosed with skin cancer. You're $200,000 in debt, and your ex-husband's trying to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Life scenario 2. You're on a break with your boyfriend, and you want to quit law school, but everything else is awesome. Which one is better? I think one. I think two. I think two. Mike, I have never seen a rom-com with scenario 1.
No.
That would be an amazing rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to watch it, but it would be one amazing rom-com. I'd be like, this is depressing.
Yeah.
What is this? They have nothing to look forward to. This is horrible. This is like real life. Ugh.
Yeah. I was thinking about Florida Project, but there wasn't any romance in that movie. That was just pure depression.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Never mind.
And I want to point another thing out about the old Anyone But You. Basically, Mike, the whole movie takes place in the week leading up to a wedding. Both characters, Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney's characters, fly to Sydney, Australia for this wedding.
Word.
Glenn Powell's character isn't even related to anyone in the wedding, and he's traveling 10,000 miles for that wedding. As you can imagine, Mike, as soon as I saw this, I was like, I can no longer relate to this movie. I was like, as soon as they told me my friends were getting married in Sydney, I'd be like, good luck. Let me know how it goes. I will see you when you get back. Like, there's no way. No, go to Sydney? You kidding me? I got to pay for that and go 10,000 miles there and back? I'm going to be jet lagged the whole time I'm there to see a stupid wedding? No.
No way.
No, if that were me,
No way.
But, you know, that's a rom-com. Everything's awesome.
That's a rom-com. Oh, yeah.
They traveled halfway around the world for a wedding, Mike, and they stay in a mansion, and then several unbelievably attractive women fell in love with him. That's what happens, you know?
Yeah.
But
Regular day.
I got bad news for the listeners. The Doc G Show is no rom-com.
No
Me and Mike are not unbelievably attractive women.
way. No. We're just a calm.
And sadly, guys, Mike can't fall in love with you. He's already married, so it can't happen.
Yeah, can't.
Can't happen. And I'm incapable of love. So we've got issues. We've got issues, but you know what? It's not going to stop us from keeping the show going.
No way.
We're getting ready to fire it up. Are you ready to fire it up, Mike?
Let's fire up this comm, Doc G.
Woo! We're just going
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
It's going to be the new thing to hit the streets. You going
Yeah.
to that stand-up comm? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to that stand-up comm. It's going to be good.
Just listen to the comm show this morning.
That-
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I feel like too. That's getting dangerously close to vulgar words. Com show. You gonna get that com show all over your face? What? Nothing.
No, in my ears.
Anyways, Mike, we have an amazing show. We have the world famous, the world renowned, the one and only Joe Bonamassa on the show today. Like I said last week, I mean, one of the handful of greatest guitarists in the world, this guy. Can't wait to talk to him. It's going to be fantastic. But first, we need to start where we start.
Birthday suit.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Mike, I think you might be able to, at least 2 for 3, I think.
All right, let's go.
This first one you got. Born in Boston, Massachusetts on June 5th, 1971. Our birthday suit wearer was the youngest of 9 brothers and sisters. Growing up, our birthday suit wearer did some pretty horrible stuff growing up. He was arrested several times. Around the age of 19, he followed his brother Donnie's footsteps, and his brother Donnie was in the band New Kids on the Block. Our birthday suit wearer started working on music. His first single was Good Vibrations, which was produced by his brother Donnie and was a platinum hit. Not too long after getting into music, our birthday suit wearer started modeling, specifically for Calvin Klein. Then he started acting. His first big role was in Boogie Nights. Since then, he's played in many blockbuster movies like Rockstar, Planet of the Apes, Four Brothers, The Departed, Max Payne, The Fighter, Transformers, Ted, and Ted 2. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Marky Wahlberg.
Marky Mark is correct. Yes. Woo. Turning, let's see, 53. Wow. Yeah. Looking pretty good. Yeah, he had a rough past back there. He had some pretty atrocious things when he was a teenager. There was some racism. There was some assault. Didn't look good. But he straightened it all up. And then even when he was like, I don't know, 30-some, 40-some, he had all of his tattoos removed. You remember when he did that? Yeah, he had the old the tattoo removal, because he had several tattoos. Yeah, and he said he was gonna like take his kids to see how painful it was, so they wouldn't do the stupid tattoos. And I was like, or you could just leave them. That too. He was pretty, he wanted to get rid of them. So, anyways, and then he's got his burger deal with his brothers, so that's nice. Yeah. The old Wahlburgers. Yeah. You've had a Wahlburger, right?
I was in their commercial.
Yeah.
Wahlburgers commercial, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Paul Berg was there.
I was about to say,
yeah.
Marky wasn't there. No. But did you get to meet Paul? Did you?
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
He seems like a nice guy.
I watched some of his Instagram content, YouTube content before I went to the shoot, so I had a little bit of a
info,
intro, and he was a nice guy.
You didn't go too deep. You didn't go like 15 years back, and we're like, "Hey, what about this?" And he's like, "What the what's wrong with this guy?"
Yeah, very surface level research.
Good. Just a little talking fuel. I like it, Mike. Regardless, Mark's doing great. He's turning 53. Happy birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday.
Mike, are you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Okay, Mike, I want to start off Rip from the Headlines with some happy news. Yes! I'm sure CBS will have something for me. Let me just read the first headline here. Quote, giant venomous flying spiders with 4-inch legs heading to New York area as they spread across the East Coast.
Yes, that's nice.
It's horrible, Mike. Horrible. When did we turn into Australia? What's next? Crocodiles? We're going to start calling McDonald's Maccas? Sick. Sick. They do call it Maccas, by the way. It's weird. I don't get that. Yeah. They call it macas. Don't know.
In Australia, they call it macas?
They do. They call it macas.
So true.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing they do. But the spider is I guess it's pronounced Joro spider, Mike. It's Joro. Maybe it's like maybe it's a Latin pronunciation. Maybe it's a horo spider. I don't know.
Yeah.
But regardless, Joro, horo, something like that. And here's the thing, Mike. They're not actually from Australia. They're from Asia. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to accuse CBS of a little sensationalism here in their title. Because first of all, these spiders aren't flying, Mike.
Nope.
They're not out there zipping around on a bunch of wings. They parachute themselves down with their webs.
That's what I was kind of thinking, with the webs, Spider-Man style or something,
Second, they don't use venom to bite people. As the researcher in the article said, we have no evidence that they've done any damage to a person or a pet, end quote. I do like how they added the pet part in there. Like, if you didn't add that in there, you were worried that they're completely harmless to people, but they will kill your dog. They're going to bite the out of that dog. Like, I don't know. But regardless, Mike, keep a lookout. They're going to be 4-inch spiders there. They sort of look like those yellow and black garden spiders. That's what they look like, except they're more colorful. That's what they look like.
Oh, that's nice.
Anyways, Mike, I've got great news. Apple released the new version of iOS. This new version 17.5. They've worked out some bugs and improved the function. Their new option that allows users to read their favorite podcast.
Oh, okay.
Finally. Because I hear most people get into podcasts because they want to read more. Right? I've also heard people say, I really love audiobooks, but if there was just a way I could read them instead. Right?
I want to follow along.
Ridiculous. What do they do? Why, Mike? I
don't know.
I feel like you got the AI reading the text and they're like, well, we got it. You want to just put it all out there? That'd be cool. Just whole list. That'd be fun.
Good luck reading me, AI. Good luck.
Yeah, well, us both. I have not looked at the text of our show, Mike, but right there, I don't know what it would do there. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Mike, article from People magazine, our fave. Yes. Chrissy Teigen, this is the headline. Quote, Chrissy Teigen visibly shaken after flight's erroneous takeoff had her bracing for impact.
Ugh.
Yeah. On her Instagram, Chrissy Teigen said, quote, we just had something called an erroneous takeoff. I don't even know what erroneous means, to be honest with you. We were going 1,000 miles an hour to take off and then came to a complete stop. End quote. Chrissy, I think I can explain what happened. Somebody up.
Yeah.
That's about it. Mike, we have a learned audience that listens to this show. And they all know what erroneous means.
Yeah, they all know.
Erroneous means it's a fancy word for wrong or false, right? So it means that somebody in this takeoff process up. And if they kept going, you would have just completely wrecked. And the reason that they say erroneous takeoff is it sounds way better than, hey, we up and almost wrecked. So they call it erroneous takeoff. Just be glad it wasn't a Boeing plane.
No.
That erroneous takeoff would have turned into a very non-erroneous explosion. So it's good. It's good that you just had an erroneous takeoff.
So true.
Man, I'll tell you, all the turbulence, Mike, and all the erroneous takeoffs just make me want to fly even less. No, thank you.
Yeah, that turbulence is getting bad, isn't it?
It is. I don't want any part of it, man. People like planes dropping like 5,000 feet straight and then coming.
Yeah. Oh, man. people getting injured, not wearing. You got to wear your seatbelts.
I'd be admitting things to the people beside me. I killed a person once. I'm sorry. Flop. I had sex with a donkey. Just horrible, man. I don't need to be doing that.
You're like all safe, and then you're like, hey, by the way, I was just saying.
I was
things.
joking. That
It was all a joke.
I'm making the funnies, everybody. Don't worry about it. Oh, horrible. It frightens me, Mike.
Yeah.
And I mean, and most of the time it's like in clear skies now too, It's not even like bad weather turbulence, which is even crazier.
Yeah.
Scary. Mike, J.K. Rowling, J.K. Rowling?
Harry Potter.
Yeah, author of the Harry Potter
Author,
of the Harry Potter series. She just keeps making wilder claims about the trans community. This past week, she came out and said, quote, "Trans rights are the greatest assault of my lifetime on women." Mike, I got a feeling when Diddy's lawyers read this, they were like, "Score one for us, guys." Not our guy. Yeah. It's a little bit crazy, I'm just the worst assault. Like, even if you're against, come on,
J.K. Rowling, come on,
you're ruining
Harry Potter.
So true.
Anyways, Mike, Lenny Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz.
Oh yeah.
He made some news this past week.
I saw that news.
Did you see the sex news?
Yeah. Celibate.
Yeah.
And no sex.
Yeah, let me tell the listeners here, in an interview, he let folks know that he hadn't had sex in more than 9 years.
Wait, what?
9 years. And he said he hadn't had sex in 9 years because he hadn't been in a serious relationship for more than 9 years. Now, Mike, this was followed by Ice-T hearing this. And Ice-T tweeted, quote, "9 years without sex? F that BS. Weirdo shit." End quote. Then somebody responded asking why Ice-T was questioning Lenny Kravitz, and Ice-T responded with, "Shit's weird to me. I love to f*** a lot." I got to agree with Ice-T, Mike.
Yeah.
Especially when you're Lenny Kravitz. I mean, John Bon Jovi is out there with 100 women while he's married. Lenny Kravitz has 0 and he's single. What's wrong with that?
Come on, man. You're a rock star. What are you doing?
Plus,
What a
come on.
waste.
Plus, you're 60, Lenny.
Yeah.
You don't know how much longer your equipment's gonna work.
Ugh.
You could turn around
it's
next
terrifying.
time and try, and it'll be like putting a pillow into a pillowcase, and you're like, oh no. Oh, it doesn't
God.
work anymore. That'd be disappointing. You just wasted the 10 years then? Don't want that.
Nope.
9 years. That's crazy, though, Mike.
9 years.
Crazy. Got more Charles Barkley news, Mike.
All right.
So Charles Barkley went on the Sports Illustrated podcast. Didn't know Sports Illustrated had a podcast. I might check it out. I don't know. But this past week, he told a story about Tom Brady.
Sweet.
He said at a golf tournament about 5 years ago that he was broadcasting, he saw Tom Brady. And he told Tom Brady, "Hey, I really like your watch." Thought it looked real good. Couple hours later, Tom comes back and gives Charles his watch.
Oh, yeah. Tom Brady.
And Charles said, "That's what a guy Tom is." Him and Wayne Gretzky, for being the GOATs of their sports, are two of the nicest, most humble guys I've ever met. And you know what? I think I get the point of the story, Mike. I think I get it. So, Tom, if you're listening, Tom, got yourself a really nice Miami Beach house there.
Yeah, you do.
Looks real nice. I'm just saying, man. That's a nice
Just
house.
saying.
You know? Just, did it work? Has he called our people yet? No,
Check
he
your
hasn't.
email.
We're gonna get an email just like our request for him to be on the show. Hey, Tom's not giving you his house! ! But thanks for asking. All right.
Oh, damn.
That was
That was
nice.
nice.
That was
That's a
nice
good
of him.
response.
Mike, interesting article from the Washington Post. A recent study from the New England Journal of Medicine Evidence has found that babies exposed to peanuts from infancy are significantly less likely to be allergic later in life. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mike, this is exactly why I have been smearing peanut butter on babies' faces for the last decade. Sure, a couple of babies didn't make it, but the ones that did make it thanked me later.
Yes, they did.
Very happy about it. No allergies.
So true.
Nope.
I have always sort of believed that about allergies, though, Mike. I mean, just circumstantial evidence. You sort of slowly build up yourself to that allergen, and you have less of it,
Yeah. Expose them to everything, right? Like just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, a quick headline. Here's a headline from the New York Times. Quote, if AI can do your job, it can also replace your CEO. End quote.
Word.
All right, New York Times, bump the brakes. I doubt AI can get $1 million paycheck and somehow evade all responsibilities. That just doesn't seem like what AI does, okay? I don't believe it. Show me the evidence.
That's right.
I mean, honestly, though, let's be honest. Should be easier to do the CEO. No offense, CEOs, but you're not listening anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. They're not.
Yeah.
It's an easy gig. I mean,
Exactly. Mike,
what are they doing?
Exciting news out of Philadelphia. Marjorie Fitterman and Bernie Littman got married.
Yes, they did.
They've been dating for 9 years, Mike.
9 years.
First met 9 years ago. Now, here's
Good
what
amount of
makes
time.
this unique is Marjorie is 102.
102.
And Bernie is 103.
Yep.
This is in the Guinness Book of World Records as the oldest people ever married.
Love it.
Yeah, man. I bet you when they got to the until death do us part portion of the vows, they were like, that should be pretty easy. I think we can do that.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't last too long.
Rom-com idea.
Oh, man.
200-year-olds.
So hot. Oh, my gosh. Get them out there in some bikinis like Sydney Sweeney. I do have to say, Mike, Marjorie, you tell me she's like 80, I'd believe it.
Okay.
That's how good she looks. She looks good. For 102, man, killing the game.
Let's go.
Regardless, congratulations to the happy couple there.
Yes.
Congratulations. Mike, take a listen to the headline from Yahoo Finance. Quote, Susie Orman, 3 ways I live frugally, including driving a 12-year-old car. Well, guess what, Susie? My car is 15 years old.
Let's go.
Who's the frugality champ now?
14 years old over here, Doc G. You know how we roll. 2010.
I'll one-up it. I also stopped showering, brushing my teeth to save money.
Yes.
Sure, I've lost a couple of teeth and I have 7 skin diseases, but I am saving money.
Yes.
Ow! Not really. I do brush my teeth, despite what some people say.
Me too. Floss, brush.
There you go.
I
There
don't
you
do
go.
the tongue, though. I don't do the tongue, Doc G.
That's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. It doesn't. Well, I don't really feel like it does anything, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not like I come out of it and be like, okay, I feel better now. Got that tongue, you know.
My tongue's wider.
Yeah, I don't. Actually, it looks weird. Actually, when it does get white, like you get those little sort of like white bumps on the end of the taste buds.
Yeah, that freaks me out. I usually
Yeah.
WebMD that.
Too much. My quick headline from the NY Post here, from the New York Post. Quote, alleged drunk driver smashes pickup truck into upstate New York home. End quote. What makes you think he was drunk? Mike, I came across this headline. This was from a while back. This is from The Atlantic. quote, why do people drink so early in airports, end quote. Is this author never traveled by plane?
Yeah, come on, it's a party.
I mean, it's basically like writing an article being like, why do people drink a lot at family get-togethers? Because they want to forget where they actually are, and booze helps them do that. That's what you're doing. Come on, guys.
Puts you to sleep faster. Makes the turbulence easier to deal with.
When you're dropping 5,000 feet, come on, man. Come on.
My drink.
Who cares? Sweet. Mike, this one's from Delish. Yeah, here's the headline. Quote, oatmeal raisin cookies are the nostalgic treat you need to bake, end quote. I don't know, Mike. Maybe if you want to be nostalgic for when you can't find any chocolate chip cookies. Don't want oatmeal raisin? That's always second place. Come on.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Sometimes I even second guess it when you're at a place and they're like, we got oatmeal raisin. You're like, I don't
really,
know.
Subway? No macadamia?
Exactly. You're like, yeah.
Losers.
All right, I guess. Nostalgic for disappointment.
That's a fact.
Mike, this was an interesting one. Anthony Edwards, you know the Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Ant-Man recently came out with his new shoe, the Adidas AE1. Mm-hmm. Which we need to talk to somebody from the Adidas company. Like, why didn't you call it like Ant shoe? Like AE1? He's already got a nickname. You don't need to shorten it. I mean, that's just me. It's just me talking. Anyways, he had his new shoe come out, and they had a commercial that went along with it. It was basically him responding to comments and criticism on social media. Actual comments from people on social media. And one of those comments used in the ad was from the rapper Cameron. And Cameron said that he was an all-star, but not a superstar. And in the commercial, Ant-Man responds by saying, buddy. Like, you know, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's rough. But then Cameron didn't take too kindly to this, Mike. He saw the commercial, and he came out this past Monday with a diss rap aimed at Anthony Edwards. Came out with it, Mike. I feel like that was a little bit too far. I was like, Cam, that's not fair. Anthony Edwards doesn't even know who you are.
Nope.
Oh Boy came out when he was 1. Literally, when that guy was 1 is when your most famous song came out. He's like, who is this dude? Yeah, I don't even know. They used him for the commercial, like, just ridiculous. Everybody thinks they can write a diss rap nowadays.
Anthony Edwards, he comes and he posterizes a Cameron CD.
Yeah, they just put it.
That could be his.
Put it right below the rim, just nutsack into the CD. Oh man, I don't know. It seems a little hard to address, Mike. I don't know. Seems a little hard to address, but regardless, Mike, we are going to take a break. We are going to hear from the one and only. This is Joe Bonamassa with Driving Towards the Daylight. And we are back here on the Doc G Show, Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what do listeners need to do?
Well, Doc G, if the listeners are feeling like the show is a positive way to waste their time, they should please subscribe to the show we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe to the show. It's a cost-effective way to support the show. And if the listeners are feeling extra generous, please leave us a 5-star review. Please. And also tell a
Amen.
friend. We love when you tell your friends.
We
about
love
the show.
friends.
We love friends.
Bring your friends. We'll watch a rom-com with them.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Mike, you know, I've been known to listen and watch other shows. Yeah, there's a lot that I enjoy out there. You know, I enjoy the traditionals, the Seth Meyers, the Jimmy Kimmels, you know. But then I also like the I guess you would call them sort of the new age, the podcast, the Smartless podcast, the Conan podcast.
So true.
And I noticed something, Mike. I noticed a lot of times their guests, when they come on the show, will say, I can't believe I'm on with you. I'm so excited. I listen or watch this show all the time. And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but none of our guests have ever said that. I get a sneaking suspicion half the time they don't even know who I am, Mike. They think their manager had to, like, pay a favor off or repay a gambling debt, and they're like, who is this? Why are you having me talk to him? I don't know. But that is now my goal, Mike. I want to have somebody who knows the show on the show. I don't think we can shoot for somebody that says, I love the show and I listen all the time. But I think we can shoot for, hey, I think I've heard of your show before. You know, I want to shoot for that person on the show. Like, you know what? I think I came across one of your videos one time. Yeah, you did. I want that person
That's
on the
what we
show,
want.
Mike.
That's the goal.
You know? Yeah, that's the goal. We're going to get to that point, Mike.
We will.
Where somebody vaguely recognizes us. That's what I want for this show. And I think we can make it.
I think so,
we
too.
can make it.
I think so,
We
too.
know there are a lot of listeners out there that would recognize. Well, they probably wouldn't recognize us, but maybe if we just started talking in front of them, they'd be like, "Hey, I know those voices. Those are those two stupid voices I listened to for 2 hours. It's awesome." And you know what? We need to thank those people right
do.
now. Here we go. 5-star listeners, everybody. Shout out Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil, San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, Boardman, Oregon, Genoa, Italy, Richards, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Cadiz, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boyne, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Columbus, Ohio.
Shout out.
Should have tried to take a bigger breath. I think I could have got all of them in there. I only had 3 on that second breath. Now I feel like a loser. Let me tell you, I am really proud of Fort Lauderdale. They have came in, and they have stuck with us for the last several months. Solid amount of listens.
Yes.
Thank you, Fort Lauderdale.
Thank you, Fort Lauderdale.
And if you keep moving up that list, we'll hold our promise. We're going to do a live show.
Oh, yeah.
And there may not be anybody there.
Nope.
We'll do it just right on the beach, right beside A1A. Nobody will be there. People will be walking by like, who are these morons talking to? And we'll be like, holding the promise. We are here. We did it. Mike, let's thank the 4-star listens. Got some good ones. First off, shout out London Town.
Shout out.
Shout out to England. London, England. Next on the list, Manhattan, New York.
Hey.
Shout out. Big old Manhattan. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Boulder, Colorado. Shout out to Jersey City, New Jersey. Shout out to Houston, Texas. Shout out to O-Town, Orlando.
Orlando.
Shout out to Tampa, Florida. Shout out to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Okay, I'm going to screw this one up. Shout out to St. Georgen im Schwarzwald, Germany.
Of course.
Probably didn't get anywhere close to that, but you know, I tried. Give me I tried, Germans.
Yeah.
Give me I tried. Shout out to Charleston, South Carolina. Shout out to San Jose, California, and shout out to San Antonio, Texas.
Shout out.
There we go. 4-star listen, Mike. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. We appreciate it. We've been getting some really good numbers this year, and we appreciate it a lot. Mike, it's time for a little previously on the Doc G show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Previously on the Doc G Show.
So this one's from several shows back, but you brought up your garden.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you need to hit up Ace Hardware for your gardening needs.
Yes.
And you were like, I don't know if there are any Ace Hardwares in Las Vegas. No need to fret, Mike. There are.
Oh,
You can go to Ace.
cool.
So there you go.
Thank you.
Just Google your Las Vegas Ace and you will be there. Which, by the way, if Ace Hardware doesn't have a deal with the Las Vegas Aces, what the guys doing?
Yeah, come on.
Come
what
on.
are you doing?
That's a promo made in heaven right
It really
there.
is. It really is.
Got to do something together.
Yeah.
Mike,
I wonder if they have a casino inside the Ace Hardware. Wonder if they don't have
maybe just a couple
casinos.
slot machines. You know?
Nothing in Home Depot or
Nothing
Lowe's.
major, just something minor, a little
Yeah.
something. Mike, it was JFK's birthday last week. You guessed that correctly, if you recall.
Cool.
I told you that he had Addison's disease, which is correct. But I also said he was given his last rites by a priest while he was president. That was not true. I apologize, listeners. He was given his last rites multiple times before he died, but that was before he was president.
Oh, okay.
And not all of them were related to Addison's disease. I do believe there were a couple, but not all of them. So there you go.
Thank you. Thank you. We were all worried. We were all
I know.
wondering.
I mean, I know how voraciously our listeners write notes and use it as factual information every time they talk to their friends. So got to make sure that I get it correct. Mike, we talked about the largest tree in the world getting climbed.
Yes.
Now, somehow, as we were talking about that tree, in my head, I switched the title from largest to tallest, which are definitely not the same.
Oh, come on!
The largest tree is General Sherman. Its circumference, Mike, is 103 feet.
Wow.
103 feet.
I don't even know how to imagine that. Like,
It's huge. I mean, you could imagine it by thinking that's going to take about 16 or so people to get all the way around. Probably more like
Whoa.
18.
wow.
Yeah.
Two Wimbanyanas.
Yeah. With
Two
Wimbenyama,
Yeah, maybe like
it's about 8 feet.
8.
So you're looking at like probably 11 Wimbenyamas.
11
you know?
Wimbanyanas.
Yeah.
Tallest player in the NBA right now, for the listeners who don't know.
There it is.
Who
There
we're
he is.
talking about,
Yeah, and Chet's getting close. Chet's like, what, an inch off of him?
Oh, really?
2 inches?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tall guy. He's a very tall guy. And then also, what's his name is pretty tall, too. Gobert. Gobert's close.
Oh, okay.
Anywho, that's the largest tree, Mike, General Sherman. Tallest tree is the Hyperion. Hyperion, which is a giant redwood. And the crazy thing about the Hyperion is the General Sherman is 275 feet tall. Hyperion is 380 feet tall.
Jeez.
It's over 100 feet taller than General Sherman. It's insane.
Whoa,
It's
that's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah. And interestingly, Mike, apparently this is on the Wikipedia page, and then I had to look it up on actual research to make sure it's true. But at the end of the Wikipedia page on Hyperion, it just says Hyperion could have been taller, but there's woodpecker damage at the top. And I was like, really? And then I looked it up, and yes. So woodpeckers screwed it up for us. We could probably have like a 420-foot tall tree if it wasn't for those turds.
Whoa. Wow. So they actually do share the location of the Hyperion.
No,
No?
not specifically.
Not
Not specific. You know where it is in the national forest, but you don't know. Like it's in a area of the national forest where people aren't allowed.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but there you go. There you go.
Wild.
Lastly, Mike, on the old previously on the Doc G show, I told you about Keith Urban thinking Ariana Grande's song was audible heroin. This was Ariana's song, We Can't Be Friends. Now, he not only called the song audible heroin because he was listening to it, but he also made his own cover of the song. So he actually played the song and then also called it audible heroin. So I'm not sure if you would consider that getting high on your own supply or not, Mike. I don't know if the cover counts as that, but regardless, clean your act up, Keith. Clean it up, man. But regardless, just wanted you to know if any listeners are out there that are interested in hearing it, you can also listen to the Keith Urban version.
That's right.
It's out there. Just serenading you with that. I haven't heard either version, Mike, so I don't know.
Me neither.
Okay, yeah, I was waiting for confirmation. That's what I figured.
I mean, come on.
But Mike, we need to take a break. We are going to be right back with none other than Joe Bonamassa right here on the Doc G Show.
Hey, what's up? This Rock Montana.
This Mucho Yellow.
And this Rockin' Yellow.
And you're listening to Doc G Show from 803 to 904, the best show on the radio.
You dig?
This is 95.5 Spinnaker Radio. WSKR-LP-FM, UNF Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are very excited to have returning guest and legend of the sixth string who has his new album live at the Hollywood Bowl with Orchestra coming out June 21st. Mr. Joe Bonamassa. Joe, how's it going?
Everything's going great. Sorry for the sirens, but it's Los Angeles, and that's it's like it's just what happens here all the time.
It's the theme song.
Yeah. It's the theme song of the city. You know, everything's going so well here in LA. I can't tell you how great things are here in LA. It's just wonderful. I mean,
well, you got away from it for a little bit there, though. You got to go on vacation, I saw, for just a real short one to our neck of the woods there. You were in the Keys doing some fishing.
My father and I and three of our friends, we go down every year, and we get up super early. Like, we're fishing at 4:30, and it's a lifestyle. And we go for days, and so it's a 4-day trip, and that's enough vacation for me. You know,
is it all shallow water fishing that you guys do?
It's yes. I don't fancy myself a seagoing individual. It's all in like 10 feet of water or less, but there's quite an ecosystem under those bridges in South Florida. I mean, it's like, you know, in the hotel, there's these brochures and they show people swimming and paddleboarding and all this stuff. I'm like, are you crazy? You know, I mean, like, we've seen 12, 13-foot hammerheads. They take the tarpon up to the bottom, try to bite them in half, some successfully. You know, and you're like, wow, that's quite a thing. You know, so if you go in there, and by the way, barracuda just takes the bait and the line and cuts it off in like 2 seconds, and you're like, that could be your arm. You know, why don't you wear something flashy and go splashing? Like, it's their house for sure.
I'm with you. I'm with you on the deep sea too. Deep sea, way too much seasickness for me. And then if I take Dramamine, I'm out for the rest of the day. So
you have to be a committed angler. You know, it's in the blood if you want to go 50 miles chasing, marlin and, things like that. It's that takes a different type of sportsman, which I'm not.
Just a 72-hour vacation. That's it. That's
totally
it.
good.
Well, I mean, right before the vacation, you got a really cool package from Martin Guitars.
I did.
You got the prototype for the 00045 Joe Bonamassa.
Yes, sir.
And that was based off of the 1941 guitar you bought about 4 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah. It's right on there, yeah.
How did you go from getting the spectacular old guitar to them making that new prototype?
So, I brought this guitar. By the way, the original guitar, the 41, showed up at Guitar Center in Costa Mesa. And my friend Nick Conti, who basically is the Guitar Center's buyer of all things vintage, calls me and say, "Hey, listen, it's down in Costa Mesa. Go check it out. If you want it, we can make a deal on it." And this lady thought it was a Gibson. By the way, it's the cleanest 00045 any of my Martin buddies has ever seen. So
it's insane.
It's insane. It's a white glover, as they say, in the museum business. And so I took it up to see my friend Norm. I go there like every Saturday. Tomorrow will be no different. Every Saturday I go see Norm and because he's my bud and it's a hang, and we make it a Saturday thing. And I just took it up for show and tell, and Norm's like, "Let's do a video," which we've done thousands of videos now. But it was an interesting thing, and I told the story about how we saved this lady's house and everything else. And Martin saw it. And they reached out. They're like, "Hey, if you ever want to do something, let me know." I'm like, "Yeah, of course." Talk about a family-run business for over almost 200 years. I think they're 191 years old. Like 1833 is when they started. And they're still in the same location as they moved. I think in the 1840s. Or in 1850s, they moved to Nazareth, Pennsylvania from New York.
Yeah.
And so these things, this particular Martin, the 41, had been shipped from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, ended up in Alhambra, which is a suburb here of Los Angeles, and it was sold in 41 for $225, which was a lot of money. It's a lot of money now, and it was certainly a lot of money in 1941.
That's like 5,000 today.
Yes, it's like it's never played, and it never left Orange County, LA County in 80 some odd years, like 83 years. Okay. Yeah. And so when Martin wanted to inspect it, I'm like, we have to do this when the weather in Nazareth is similar to the weather in California, because this thing has been hermetically sealed and it's used to this climate. So last October, we looked at the weather, and my friend Rick Gould, he took it out to Martin, and he was there for like 3 or 4 days, and they forensically inspected the guitar and copied literally every detail about it, because even all the inlays were handmade. They're all different. It wasn't like this, it's not like it's still a hand-built guitar, even though they're a factory. And 6 months later, here we go, and we're going to do 45 45s. It's a limited edition. There's only going to be 45 of these. And,
wow.
And because I just think it's a cool story, and it's a hand-built guitar. Yes, they're going to be expensive, but all those guitars in the 45 series, they're all expensive. I mean, In-N-Out hamburger is going to cost you $40 for two. Okay. I mean, we're living in inflationary times. Okay. So the limited edition makes it better. I'm not going to try to sell 5,000 of these things, so 45s, that was my idea. And
I like it.
What an honor. I mean, come on. I mean, what an honor.
Yeah. I like you said before, I don't know if I've ever seen I don't even know if I've ever seen just any 83 guitar, let alone a Martin, look that well preserved. I mean, the picture that you posted on Instagram of the prototype beside the original, you can't tell which is which if you didn't label them.
They look very similar, and they're, you know, I would describe the 41 as mint. I mean, like, I don't use the word mint. A lot of people use the word mint kind of like, oh, it's in mint condition. I'm like, no, it's not. It's kind of beat up, man. You know, we all have our lines of demarcation and standards. This thing is scary. It's scary clean.
Yeah,
and it's still got the original price tag on it, and you know, all this stuff. And so it wasn't like we were trying to recreate a beat up guitar, which I think Martin, they do relicking and stuff like that, which thank God we don't have to go down that road. And you know, Martin's, you know, I have a couple of really clean ones, but I've never seen one that preserved, let alone you know, with all that the pearl binding and all that. And I have a 42 1939. That's the same kind of guitar Eric Clapton would have played on the not Crossroads, but the Unplugged.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I mean, that guitar is good condition for its age, but if you put the 41 and the 42 and the 45 next to each other, you're like, well, that's definitely a cut above.
The 32, will you use a pick on it?
I'll use on the 40 on the 0042. Yeah, I use that in the studio.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously I don't hack at it, you know.
Yeah.
But you got to be. I mean, these are very, very historically significant, you know, expensive pieces of history, but they're also functioning art. You know, I mean, I could totally take the 41, stick a pickup in it, and rock it on stage, but it won't be mint anymore.
Well, now, how many? You mentioned how many? You're a Gibson Fender man. How many Martins are in your collection? Do you know?
Martin guitars, I have probably. Sorry, now here's a police helicopter. We're getting the full LA experience here today. All right. It's Martin guitars. I probably have close to 30. And that's everything. I mean, I have the oldest one I have is an 1868 021 with the coffin case that Martin actually restored for me. They reset the neck and stuff like that. And I have all the usual suspects: D28s, D18s, triple O's, double O's. I got I got three. I have two 0045s and a 0042. And they're just beautiful pieces of history, and they're so functional, and so they're still relevant. Think about like a Stratocaster and a Telecaster and a Martin guitar. I mean, it's still relevant to this day.
Yeah.
You could still use them for new music just as easy as you could use them for the music in 1935 or 1939.
And most of those Martins sound even better. The older they get.
They do sound better with age. And they do sound better with age. Any acoustic guitar sounds better with age. It's a thing about guitar relicking with people are like, well, it may look beat up, but it doesn't sound the same as any guitar with 1,000 gigs on it is going to open up.
Yeah.
Electric or acoustic,
Yeah.
You got to put the miles on it. It's not something that you can just take sandpaper to it and make it look old. It's still a new guitar.
Got to put the work in. Well, I mean, on the gear, one thing on your gear I've noticed. I mean, you like you mentioned, you show a lot of your gear on social media. And you and Norm, actually, you did a post together just a couple of days ago, and it went a little bit off the rails in the comment section. And you actually posted a response to these comments, and I was amazed that you actually read the comments. Like, how can you stand reading those comments? I mean, most of them are positive. Most of them are all positive, but like when you get to those like negative ones, doesn't it make you just want to go, forget this? I'm not reading any of these.
The level of ignorance is shocking to this day. That there's this notion that I own every guitar in the world, and I'm keeping them away. Some diabolical plot. I'm keeping them away from deserving players that could take them out. It's like, first of all, it's specious reasoning to think that way. It is a very. I own 650 guitars. Okay, maybe a few more. I don't know. I mean, they're in 5 locations. I have an inventory, and it's approximately 650 guitars. You know how many guitars are built a year? Lots. Okay. Yeah. Thousands, tens of thousands. You know how many guitars they built between the years 1960 and 1965? Pretty much, after the Beatles came out, tens of thousands. There's no way that this even becomes relevant. And the notion that guitar collecting that I'm doing and amp collecting that I do is somehow hurting people is just the most dumb argument you can say. It's fair to say, like, do you really need all this stuff? Absolutely not. Okay, that's a fair argument. Okay, but I always use the reference that not a lot of people knew that Rory Gallagher had a huge guitar collection. He was known to play that one beat up Strat. Okay, and that was like, that's all Rory Gallagher needed was that one guitar. And like, he had hundreds of guitars. He was a guitar collector, just like me.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people. And this notion that for some reason that I'm some Sith Lord of evil guitar collectors is just nutty. And I posed a response that was such a take on it. And what I was surprised to see is how many people thought I was actually serious.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I'm like, I can't help those who don't want to help themselves. I can't help those who can't critically think past, in a chess match, you can only, you're only moving one
piece at a time.
One piece at a time. I can't help those that for some reason get so spun up and jealous that they have to come out with these crazy opinions. And I don't care anymore. I don't care. I don't care what people think of what I do. I've been long established, and I have the luxury now. I can do this for as long as I want and can quit anytime I want. I've earned that right after 36 years, and I'm doing this professionally. And that's it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you like what I do, great. If you don't like what I do, great. It doesn't affect anything. Your opinion, and I told this to the last guy I talked to, the people that get on the Instagram or the social media and they try to engage you with these kind of things, it's like they're forgetting one thing, is we're not peers. You're not my peer, okay? Because you're on the other side of the fence chiming in on people who are out there putting themselves out there. Now, if you put yourself out there for people like me to judge harshly, you may not like what we say, but they'll hide under the anonymity of Les Paul Lover 59 and say what they want. But use your own name. Let me run a Google search on you. Let me criticize what you do for a living. But if you get into that, it's really not worth it. No. And you become one of them. Yeah. And it's not worth it. It's not a positive way to live your life. I don't care what anybody thinks anymore. I don't care. It's the closer I get to 50, the less I care. And right now I'm 3 years away from 50, and I have this much care left about anything.
I feel like you could make that a shirt. The closer I get to 50, the less I care.
I care. And because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I do. there's always going to be someone who says something negative about it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
I will say what amazes me too is the people that have legitimate gear questions and are interested in it, you respond with actual responses about the gear because you love it. Like, I mean, it's amazing to me because like I said, I would have just stopped responding.
No, and that's to me the purest form of like social media is you get to meet people from all over the world. And that's great. Other collectors, other enthusiasts, or people just interested in it, thinking of dabbling in it. And, it's an expensive hobby, but it's not something that you will, it's to be enjoyed. Music is to be enjoyed. This gear stuff is to be enjoyed. It's not something that is, it's not life or death. The sun will rise again tomorrow.
Well, moving on to something to be enjoyed, you got to do something you'd never done before. You opened for the Rolling Stones.
I did. Mm-hmm.
And your love of British blues guitar, Eric Clapton, the Jimmy Pages, the Jeff Becks, that's well known. How much did the Stones influence you growing up?
Well, there's certain artists and there's certain bands that transcend just the music. They become the vernacular. And the Stones are one of them. It's like, we're lucky to be living in the same time as the Rolling Stones. Now we're talking about 3 generations. They've been doing this 60 years as a band. And we're talking about 3 generations of people that have loved this music. And the thing about the Rolling Stones that they're so good. It's scary how good they still are. There's no erosion of the skills ever. Like, if you saw Steel Wheels and you saw the Hackney Diamonds tour, it's the same. They sound the same.
Yeah.
Sound and does the gig the same. How you just go it's a lot of artists legacy artists sometimes tend to stay in the game a little bit past the sell by, and it's not what people are not hearing what they used to, but you're paying tribute to them, and as a fan going to the concerts, these guys are as good as they've ever been. It's nuts. And it doesn't matter who opens for them. They have such a really wide, diverse kind of lineup. And anybody from, I think John Baptiste did it last night, to Lainey Wilson's doing it.
Tyler Childers.
And we did it. Gary Clark did one. My friend Taylor, her band, the Pretty Reckless, did, I think, one in Vegas. That's a very diverse group of musicians, and we all can say the same thing. When Keith starts "Start Me Up," we are all forgotten. It's like it's over. It's like there's nothing anybody can do. I nicked a set list, okay, and I'm looking at it in the backstage. I'm like, they're missing they're playing 19 songs, 15 are standards at this point, and they haven't. We're trying to figure out. I'm like, well, they're not playing this one. There's another 10 that they could play. They could do 4 hours of standards. Oh no. And there's only one Rolling Stones. And we're lucky to be in living in the world, and at the same time they are. Just very lucky. I'm very fortunate and honored that they called me.
It's great. You mentioned, the consistency and how good they sound. My dad was watching part of one of the concerts of the Hackney Diamonds tour, and he was like, Mick sounds the same as he did when I first heard him in the 60s. And I'm like, crazy.
And the keys are the same. How many artists do we know? There's some songs that even, I sing higher now than I used to, 20 years ago, I just learned how to sing. And I think my range is actually higher than it was when I was in my mid-20s. There's certain songs from 10, 15 years ago. I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's a young man's game.
Yeah.
Not with Mick. He sings the same way. Unbelievable.
Crazy. Well, now you over the last year, you've had some really cool releases, really cool one-off singles. There, you released "Dear Mr. Fantasy" with Dave Mason, and we had Dave on the show.
Nice.
And Dave is a guy that played pretty often with Jimi Hendrix, and he said watching you play guitar was as exciting for him as watching Hendrix play.
Oh, he's too kind. He's too kind. He was so nice. And, I had to do my bits in front of him and Steve Cropper. I'm like, huh? We're Nashville, RCA, right? Yeah. Studios on Music Row. And I'm like, he's like, and I see Dave and he goes, oh, you know Steve Cropper. I'm like, yeah, I know Steve. And you guys are producing this? Oh, crap. Here we go.
Like, yeah, he had, I was like, obviously you're an amazing guitarist, but he said Hendrix, yeah. And I was like, big compliment.
It's a big compliment. It's, and with all love and respect to Dave Mason, it's not true. Hendrix. There's only one Jimmy. The thing about Jimi Hendrix is like I was watching a clip of him the other day. It was like some British BBC television. It was just the three-piece, and they each had one stack. You could tell they were playing quieter. And you're like, imagine being a kid and never seeing anything like this. And then next thing you know, here comes this guy from Seattle.
Yeah.
And just playing the most crazy psychedelic blues rock
ever. Yeah.
And now we've lived with Hendrix's music for almost 60 years.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a cliche. Everybody's always Hendrix derivative or Stevie Ray derivative. And
yeah.
But imagine hearing that for the very first time. You just it must have been mind numbing.
Me and my brother have talked about this a couple times, but like when you go back and you listen to Hendrix sort of fresh, and like you sort of try to remove yourself from, like you said, the repetition, and you listen to Purple Haze or All Along the Watchtower sort of in earnest and in fresh, it still sounds so fresh and so unique when you actually just take it in and you're like, man, after this long, it still sounds so amazing.
Still chasing it. There's, listen to the records that Les Paul made in the 50s with Mary Ford. Couldn't do it with Pro Tools if you tried. Okay. He had 4 tracks, or maybe 8, because he was a way ahead technology-wise. And he had Ampex machines and a console that he built. And you couldn't replicate that stuff now.
Yeah.
With all the technology and all the manipulation you can do with sound and basically, vocals now, all you have to do is hum into the microphone and say the words. My baby left me this morning. Okay. And you can sound like Paul Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
The Melodyne is just, but we're still chasing it.
Yeah.
And it was a magic time. Imagine being in, from 1964 to 1969, those 5 years, you had Cream, you had the Beatles, you had the Stones, you had John Mayall, the Blues Breakers, you had the Jeff Beck Group, Led Zeppelin, everybody, the stuff that's the Who, and 67 Monterey Pop. Look at that. And then Woodstock in August of 69. How many career-defining performances in a 3-day weekend? Joe Cocker, Richie Havens. You know what I mean?
It's insane.
Chapter. This is 5 years. We are now in March of 2025. That'll be 5 years since the world shut down. It's not a long period of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're 4 years past the, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah.
But that time in music, especially the stuff that was coming out of London,
Yeah.
Just, insane. But you also had B.B. King live at the Regal in 1964. In 1965 or 6 had Blues is King, another pivotal live record. You had the, Electric Mud, which was a psychedelic blues record that without that record, you wouldn't have people like Jack White or the Black Keys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all in the same 5 years.
Yeah. It's
Mike Bloomfield and Al Coop. I mean, all of that. Paul Butterfield.
Still chasing it. Still
chasing it.
Well, last thing on the collaborations, we had the fantastic Marc Broussard on the show as well, and at the beginning of the year, and he said he was planning on getting into the studio with you at some point.
Yes.
And creating a full blues album.
Yes. Yeah, we did his SOS blues record. Josh Smith and I produced that, and it was such a joy. I mean, such an inspiring guy and a joy to do. And there's singers, and then there's Marc Broussard.
It's smooth. It's
you
nice.
Can take any take. And he would, while we were cutting the basic tracks, he sat on the couch at Sunset Sound with a little SM7, kind of like what you're using.
Yeah.
Okay. Just holding it in his hand. And we could have used those vocals. Could have used them. As a matter of fact, I actually tried to talk him into one. I said, man, I think we're good. Let me try it. Let me try it. And I think we ended up using a couple of I think a couple of verses.
Yeah.
Because it was just so good. And, I was thinking about this the other day. Somebody asked me, like, what's the best show you've seen in the last 10 years? And I've seen a lot of shows. I mean, I think the Stones is right up there. But before the Stones, I have to say it was Marc Broussard at the Troubadour, 2019. He invited me to come see the show, and Samantha Fish was opening up, and she killed. I was like, wow, this is going to be hard to follow. And then Marc Broussard comes out and just lays waste. And it was like, I'm like, what a great night of music from start to finish. From Samantha to Marc Broussard, two contemporaries that I regard in the highest order, that I think really are the keepers of the torch of this music. I'm really proud of what Samantha Fish has accomplished. She's a wonderful human being and a hard worker and well-deserved, and she's killing it, and she's grown into this role and this character that she plays and does it so well. And Mark's he's a legend, man. He's just one of those great artists that his ability to interpret song is he could sing Sinatra just as easy as he can sing Johnny Taylor, and you can count on one hand the singers that are out there now that can do that. We live in a Pro Tools world, and Mark can throw down direct to disc.
I was about to say he lives in a one mic, one recording type of world.
Exactly.
Well, now before you go, you got this new album coming out live at the Hollywood Bowl with Orchestra, which was recorded August 23rd. Comes out June 21st. Now I know you've played with woodwinds and extra musicians before, like you did at Sydney Opera House. But was this the first full orchestra that you played with?
First full orchestra, different discipline.
Yeah.
Our band we're 8-piece and 7 8-piece. Depends on the tour. 11-piece this summer. And we play improvised music.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it tonight. Let's take another chorus of solos. Okay. I screw up. I run another 4 bars on an intro of the tune because I go, forgot to sing. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Band's right with you. Okay, not a problem. With the orchestra, big problem. They're reading off a chart.
Yeah. And
as wonderful as they are fearless, they will run you off a cliff if you get off the chart. They're like, we're not listening. We're playing. And David Campbell did a wonderful job conducting. And I have to say this, the saving grace for me on the night, because it was just still a blur, was our wonderful drummer Lamar Carter, who knew the music inside and out, and both all of our musicians can read and they're way better musicians than I am. And Lamar would Easter egg a few hits, let me know the sections were coming. And without that, a couple of times I would have gotten off the bars. And we were exhausted by the end of that tour because we'd worked so hard to get that show together. And we had one shot with the orchestra. We had 90 minutes. That's the old union rule. 90 minutes. No retakes, no redos. It's over. And I'm so proud of that band and so proud of everyone because it was a real huge undertaking. Kevin Shirley did a wonderful job. He knew the charts back and forth, and but when you get up there in front of 12,000 people, you're like, sometimes all bets are off. We had to stick to the bars, and I'm so proud of it. And I'm coming to you. I live just over the hill from the Hollywood Bowl, and I'll leave you with this: is during the Hollywood Bowl season, which starts in April and ends in like October, if you find yourself on Sunset Boulevard in Highland, or Hollywood in Highland, or Franklin in Highland, and you're trying to go east or north on the 101, and you don't know that you forget there's a show at the bowl, you are effed. Okay. Yeah. And I've probably been stuck in that traffic for an hour at least 10 times in my life, cursing who was ever on the marquee. Curse you, Rod Stewart. Who do you think you are? Curse you, LA Philharmonic. And finally, after 35 years, I was the one that caused the traffic. How about that? People were cursing me. They were like, I don't know who that guy is, but I hate him. I love it.
There's a 21-year wait to be that person.
Correct.
Well, what song in the group of songs that you worked with the orchestra, which was the most transformed, do you think, by the orchestra?
I would say probably Ball Peen Hammer. And our version of Heartaches for Nickels was a standout. All of them were really. I mean, it takes on a life of its own when you have. There's so many underground rivers and melodies that are just dancing around. It's hard to hear on stage what's actually going on, but when it was mixed, it was like, oh wow, look at all this stuff that's going on. But Last Matador, that became a star, that song. You know, and we've never played it. It was just a song that we brought in for the bowl. So on a record from like 10 or 12 years ago. And now we still play it because it's just like it became a star in the show.
Love it. Love it. Well, Joe, we are up against a break, but I want to thank you for coming on the show and talking with us today.
Anytime, man. I loved it. So thank you for having me.
For sure. Listeners, make sure you check out Joe's new album live at the Hollywood Bowl with Orchestra, coming out June 21st. Right now, let's take a listen to that star, The Last Matador of Bayonne, right here on the Doc G Show. Back here on the Doc G Show. You just heard Joe Bonamassa. My goodness. I mean, all the things, Mike. I'll tell you. I'm sure he didn't know who I was, but that's fine. But I mean, man, is it a treat when I can interview somebody with so many things going on?
Mm-hmm.
You're opening for the Rolling Stones. You're coming out with new albums. You're going on vacay with your family. It's just, you got all kinds of things, and then you're getting your own guitar made from Martin Guitars because you found an extremely old, rare, amazing guitar. I mean, think about that, Mike. This guitar that he found is from 1941. and basically had just not been touched since 1941. So rare.
Yeah.
So rare. And then it was like, I forget now what he said, $250 in 1941, which is like equivalent to like $5,000 today. Like, it was an insanely expensive guitar back then. I knew he wouldn't tell us how much he actually paid for that guitar from the old lady in California.
Do you think he probably a great deal, right? I mean, he probably...
No, he was up front with it because the lady brought it to Guitar Center, and then Guitar Center called Joe because they know, he's a
connection,
a collector,
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I mean, like he was fair with the price. I'm sure he didn't swindle her out of the deal. It was like, I'll give you $300, you old bag,
She's like, whoa, what?
I'm sure, like, and I would bet, I'm gonna bet he paid $150,000 for that guitar.
Say what?
That might be a little bit much, but I'm gonna say it's over $100,000, regardless.
Yeah, and then the old lady is like $200,000 minimum.
She had no idea, Mike. We didn't talk about it, but I saw it in another interview. She thought it was a Gibson. Which, I'm like, how did you think it was a Gibson? It says Martin on the top of the guitar. Did you look at your guitar before you brought it in? Come on,
Gibson Martin.
It's not a two-person name. Doesn't work. But anyways, Mike, want to thank Joe for coming on the show. Fantastic interview. Just a super nice guy. Also, like I was talking to him in the interview about the trolls, Mike. He has a lot of interaction with those trolls. He just goes back at them, and I'm like, Joe, it's not worth it. Don't do it, man.
Post it and ghost it.
It's not worth it, and he does. He'll go back. But sometimes too, he has some funny burns because he'll agree with them in certain ways, but not like there. I remember there was one where he brought up, he was like, should I get another one of these guitars? And the person was like, probably already have 8. And then he came back and said, actually I have 10, but who's counting? And I was like, oh man, nice. Sometimes they'll do zingers like that. It's pretty good.
That's all right.
But could have used work.
No. I mean, that's a fine comeback, Just, but yeah, sometimes it's just not worth it.
Mike's could have workshopped it. Nah, I'm just. No, yeah. I mean, honestly, if I were him, nah. That's what I told him. I wouldn't have responded to a single one of those people. But anywho, Mike, we need to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike's Z Top 3.
That's correct. Mike, you decided for this week that we were going to do best Robin Williams movies. Which Robin Williams, I mean, great actor. And this is going to be a hot take. It's going to be a real hot take, Mike. I think he's a better actor than he was a comedian. Like, as far as stand-up.
For sure. Oh, for sure.
But I'll tell you, anybody that came up around him will definitely not agree with you on that. Like the folk, like Dana Carvey and stand-ups that did stand-up with him, they think he's one of the best stand-ups of all time. And don't get me wrong, the energy is unbelievable. You can't deny the energy is palpable. But he's just such a good actor, man. He can just cover so many roles. It's so impressive,
Yeah, he can.
So anyways, do you want to do honorable mentions first, or you want to do them last?
I think we should do him after, just because Robin Williams, I mean, he had a pretty large catalog of movies.
He did.
But
I had to go through them all. I went through the IMDb catalog and just listed them all out. Okay, Mike, I got a feeling, and you don't have to show your cards on this one.
Okay.
But I got a feeling my number 3 is your number 1. My number 3, Hook. Hook is a fantastic movie.
it is.
I just love it. Obviously a story of Peter Pan, guy not growing up. I can, totally relate in many, many ways to that.
Here we are in my Neverland studio.
Yeah, exactly. You know, just fantastic. You know, and he finds it again. He lost it. He grew up sad, but he finds it. You know, he comes back. Bangarang. Come on. Oh, it's good stuff. There's just
it is.
There's a lot of good things about Hook. Mike, your number 3.
My number 3, What Dreams May Come. I don't know if anybody remembers this movie, but
I actually haven't seen it.
Robin Williams crushed it. Wow. It's definitely not a comedy. It's definitely and it's not a rom-com either. It's a depresh. It's just a depress.
What category of movie is this? It's a depression?
Yeah, it's a depression. It's pretty sad. Or whatever the opposite of a rom-com is, where it's like sad-com. Or no, sad-rom. Anyways, he
doesn't get do they end up together? Well, don't give it away. You don't have to give it away.
I mean, the movie is super old. If you haven't seen
we didn't give it away we gave people as far as lifeguard. We gave them a chance to get off on it. Anywho.
Yeah.
When do you remember when it came out?
90s. Not sure. No, not really sure when in the 90s. I think late 90s. But man, What Dreams May Come. Like powerful sci-fi, possibly movie. It involves the afterlife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it involves the just incredible. Yeah. I think about that movie a lot, actually. Like, not maybe a couple times
pops up
a year.
every now and then.
It pops up. Yeah. Great movie.
I got you.
Yeah.
My number 2, Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
Good Will Hunting. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, just so many good parts. I mean, and Robin plays such a good a counselor, therapist. You know, the only guy that can get to Matt Damon's character, only guy that can get to Will Hunting. The passion when Will deflects and tries to make fun of his wife and he loses it on him, and you feel it. You feel it.
It's a lot of feels. Good, a lot of quotes too.
Well, you you like apples? I got a number. How you like those apples? Classic quote.
Yeah.
And then of course you suspect. Oh, classic Boston movie too. One of those right up there with Departed and all of your classic classic Bostons. Mike, you're number 2.
Number 2, Miss Doubtfire.
Woohoo!
Yes, Miss Doubtfire, great movie.
Mike, I'll go ahead and reveal my number 1 because my number 1 is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah,
so, goes along with your number 2. It's amazing.
You can't beat it. Yeah, you can't beat it. You know who wouldn't like Miss Doubtfire? Probably J.K. Rowling, maybe. You think she would not like that movie? You think she has any respect for it? But
I see where you're going with it.
You see what I did there?
I see.
Miss Doubtfire, great movie. And also, I watched that movie as a kid, and I was like, "Wait, is this my parents? This is my parents."
Well,
is my dad gonna dress up?
I saw it as my not so much the divorce part because my parents are still together, but I saw it more just the way that the mom acted. I was like, no, it's sort of like my mom. And Sally Fields, like I told you, really looks like my mom. And then Robin Williams, my dad doesn't look a lot like Robin Williams, but he sort of does a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is oddly similar.
And we had parties with goats and trampolines. And your mom
I listened to House of
furious.
Pain. I was dancing on tables, man.
Nope.
And my dad said, "Yo, what up?" What was her name? Now I can't remember. And then she starts going out with Pierce Brosnan. And you're like, oh,
Sally Field.
Well, yeah, right? No. I'm trying to think of her name in the movie.
Name,
I want to say Cassandra, but it's not Cassandra. It's it'll come to me.
Yeah.
It'll come to me. But man, yeah, such a good movie. And that was a in theaters movie, Mike. Saw that in theaters.
Oh, you saw that in theaters. Okay.
Yeah, so I want to say, I feel like I'm wrong on this. I have to look up the date of when the movie came out, but I want to say I saw it for New Year's. Saw it on New Year's Eve. A big to do. You know, whole family goes out and watches it on New Year's Eve.
That's right.
Yeah, that was probably right because it released on November 22nd. So yeah, I would say I was correct on that. But man,
Family.
good one. What's that?
It's just an interesting movie to see with your family. I mean, I guess your parents are cool or whatever, but yeah. That was definitely a VHS movie for me, and then I watched it with like my grandparents or something. I don't know.
Oh, I had it on VHS too. I had it on VHS, and now I have it on Apple. I stream it every now and then. Yeah, I'm like, you know what? It's time to go back in the nostalgia machine, everybody.
Yeah.
Toodaloo! You know, just good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Great movie.
Mike, you're number one.
Hook.
Knew it.
Yeah,
Knew it.
I think Hook was Hook was another top 3. Something.
It was.
Past,
I want to say it was like Pirates or something.
Top 3 pirate movies. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, because I think I had Pirates of the Caribbean. I want to say that was on there for me. The first Pirates of the Caribbean. Because that's definitely the best. Let's not get crazy. But we got sidetracked. Hook is a great movie.
It is. Yeah.
Just a great story, man. Just a great story, and he plays like I said, he plays a great, believable character of losing his childhood, lust for life, and then finding it again. You know?
Yeah, really nice spin. Dustin Hoffman also killed it as Hook. I mean, he really.
He's one of those guys.
Hook.
It's sort of, his Hook to me is sort of like Jack Nicholson's Joker. It's like, he's evil, but you're sort of like, I sort of like that guy.
Yeah.
Sort of want to hang out with that dude a little bit, Like,
yeah.
And he's got such a smooth voice. I always thought Dustin Hoffman's voice is so good.
Yeah, he does have a good voice.
It's a real good voice. Real good. Miranda Hilliard was the name, by the way.
Miranda Hilliard.
Or Hillard, not Hilliard. Hillard, just Hillard. Yep. Miranda, what's up? Yo, that's when he's got his hat on backwards. Yeah. Mike, my honorable mentions.
Yeah. Honorable mentions.
First off, Good Morning Vietnam. Just great. The wall of words that come out of his mouth when he gets on air on that movie, when he is a DJ, is just insane. And like they said, he basically riffed all of that. None of that is like, none of that, like that's basically his stand-up comedy, is him just just exploding on that microphone. It's crazy.
This is terrible. I've never seen that movie. I know it's like, that's one of those movies.
It's a classic, it's a classic. I'll watch, what was it? What was your number 3?
What Dreams May Come.
What Dreams May Come. You watch Good Morning Vietnam. There you go.
All right. I'll do that.
Then my next one, Mike, The Birdcage. Birdcage, where him and Nathan Lane play two gay fellas in Miami there. One of them plays, good stuff. Came out in 96. It's a solid movie. It's good. I haven't seen it in several years, but it's good. Then my last, Dead Poets Society.
Dead Poets Society.
Yeah, where he's the teacher. Gets the kids super amped up about poetry. Very good. Very good stuff. All right, what's your honorable mentions, man?
Well, our honorable mentions, we didn't have any in common. For me, Aladdin, obviously. I was a kid, first grade, Aladdin comes out. First time I remember ever quoting a movie, like to my classmates, ever.
I thought about putting it on there, but I didn't, just because of animation. I was like, but yeah, he played a huge part. He was the genie.
Yeah.
And it was never the same, like when, like the Will Smith remake and stuff. No.
I never even watched that one.
Yeah,
Did you see it? You saw the new Aladdin?
No, I just saw clips of it and was like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's Robin Williams. That's who the genie is. Yeah. And then I remember they had the cartoon, like the animated series, like on Saturday mornings, and it was somebody else's voice, and I was like, this is stupid. This isn't
Yeah.
right. I mean, it's like watching Shrek and somebody else being the donkey besides Eddie Murphy, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
This is dumb.
No way. Yeah.
But what you got next?
Oh yeah. Also, Jumanji.
Yep. Very
Jumanji.
good.
And then
Very
Patch
good.
Adams. Patch Adams. Yeah, great movie.
Also fantastic. None of us had Night at the Museum. He was with
I never
Teddy
actually watched
Rosen.
that movie.
Neither did I. That's why I guess we both didn't have it on there.
Yeah,
But
I never watched it.
A lot of people love it.
Yeah.
Anywho, hats off to Robin Williams. Just a
Yes.
fantastic actor. Mike, next week, what are we doing?
We're doing top 3 movie houses. Top 3 movie houses.
Okay, so the house that we would most want to live in
Yes.
from different movies. Okay, I'm going to have to go digging.
And
'Cause
let's
there's-
make it kind of broad too. I mean, it can be
That's pretty
any
broad.
Kind of any kind of okay, yeah. So any kind of it doesn't like it can be any kind
Doesn't
of
have
shelter.
to be a traditional house.
It doesn't have to be a traditional.
It can be a
house.
cave.
It can be a cave.
It can be a yacht.
It can be a yacht. Yes.
Okay, it could be a tree house.
A tree house, some kind of underground situation. Yeah,
Okay,
anything.
I like it. Mike's already got something in mind. He's got some
yeah.
kind of underground space station that he wants to live in. I can see it. Anyways,
it can be in space.
it can be in space. You could be
Yes.
living on the Death
A
Star,
dwelling.
everybody.
Yes. Great top 3 idea, by the way. Death Star. I mean, come on.
There you go. It's pretty roomy. It's the size of a planet, so it's pretty nice. Okay, listeners, write it down. That's what you need to get. Mike, we are going to move on. We've got 2 birthday suits left. Okay. Here, the first one is a musician. Born on June 5th, 1957 in Seattle, Washington, our birthday suit wearer saw a saxophone performance on the Ed Sullivan Show and was hooked. He started playing saxophone when he was 10 years old. He started playing in Barry White's band when he was 17 years old. Even though he was performing with professional bands throughout college, he was ultimately still planning on becoming a CPA. That was until 1982 when he signed a solo contract with Arista Records. His second album in 1985, titled G-Force, became a platinum-selling album. His fourth album was his most commercially successful album, with the song Songbird on this album. It sold over 5 million copies. In total, he has released 19 albums, with the most recent being 2023's Innocence. I'll give you 2 other big hints. He's got some really curly, long hair, and he uses just an initial for his last name. He is synonymous with saxophone, Mike. Easy listening saxophone.
Kenny G.
There it is.
Yes.
Nicely done. Kenny G
So
is
happy.
correct.
Thank you for that. The last one. Okay, yeah. I don't know why I had Miles Davis in my head the whole time.
He does
But
not
that's-
have
he's way-
long way hair.
Way older as well. Like a way older.
And he's very, I mean, you know, I'm sure the listeners know, but
Is he a saxophone guy?
Miles Davis is a
Horn guy.
Yes, but he's a jazz guy.
Jazz
you
guy. Okay.
And that's the thing, is Kenny G is like soft jazz or pop jazz, I guess you might call it. Whereas Miles Davis is like, he's the real deal. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
He's the real jazz. You know, he's the hardcore jazz. But yeah, Miles Davis was a trumpeter. Anywho, nice job, Mike. Let's see, Kenny G turning 67.
67.
67. Wow. Happy birthday to Kenny G. Getting it. Now this is the one that I don't know if you can get, because I told you were going to get 2 for 3.
I was
Let's see if
hoping
we can-
that Kenny G was the one. It's okay. Let's go.
Born on June 5th, 1941 in Brookline, Massachusetts, our birthday suit wearer was a great student, went to Columbia on an academic scholarship, After undergrad, he went to Harvard for an MBA. 1974, our birthday suit wearer bought the Boston Lobsters of the World Team Tennis League. The league folded in 1978, but through multiple transactions, our birthday suit wearer ultimately bought the New England Patriots in 1994 for $172 million. He has been the owner for the last 30 years. The team is now worth $6.4 billion. Not a bad investment. He was recently on the Tom Brady roast, and Tom Brady told Jeff Ross not to make fun of this guy. This was after he had been caught back in 2019 going to a massage parlor for things other than massages, Mike. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Man, I'm going to have to do hopefully half credit on this.
Okay.
Initials.
His last name, Mike, his last name is a food company that is known a lot for their mac and cheese. Starts with a K. Blank Foods.
Robert Kraft.
There it is. Nicely done. You know what? I didn't give you initials, so I'm not taking off half. That's a full credit right there. That's a full credit.
I will take it.
3 for 3 once again, Mike. I like it. Robert Kraft turning, what is Robert Kraft turning? He's turning 83. Wow.
83.
Man, that is one good. I mean, he cobbled together a bunch of investments to get to that $172 million deal. There's this long thing, basically, Mike, where he owned the stadium where the Patriots played, and he basically just cornered the owner continuously until the owner was like, "Fine, I'll effing sell you the team," and that's when he bought the team. But man, 172 million into 6.4 billion. That is
huge.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is a nice turnaround, right?
Unlimited money.
Now I got to say, I would not have the 172 million to buy it in the first place. Somebody would have to spot that to me. But Tom, I really like your $172 million.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna hand that over, you know?
Here you go.
Your watch is nice too, I'm just saying. But anyways, happy birthday to Robert Kraft. Living the billionaire life. So not too bad. But Mike, we have some fantastic shows coming up. Can't wait for them. They're going to be fantastic. Next week we have the fantastic Joanne Taylor Shaw on the show. Can't wait to talk to her. But until then, I have been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Furnicus, Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.